What if I, what if I told you that there is a single food that can help reverse the loss of muscle as you age and has more protein than eggs? This diet is frequently disregarded, despite being quicker than the majority of supplements or workouts. However, it has a secret that could mean the difference between aging with resilience and self-sufficiency or succumbing to sarcopenia, the loss of strength and muscle mass with aging. Weak legs and flabby arms aren't the only symptoms of sarcopenia. It's one of the main causes of aging-related loss of mobility, balance, and even independence. It also begins earlier than most people realize. You're usually in your 40s or 50s, not your 70s. Here's the good news, though. Loss of muscle is not unavoidable. It's more than just aging. Poor protein absorption, blood sugar spikes, elevated cortisol, and persistent inflammation are the main causes of this metabolic disorder. To put it briefly, if you know how, you can completely reverse it naturally and without the need of medications. And what about the cuisine we're discussing today? It's not whey protein, steak, or eggs. It has even more potent effects on muscle regeneration, particularly in those over 50. But first, let's discuss what's actually happening inside your body when muscle begins to shrink before I divulge that food. The truth is that if your hormones, insulin sensitivity, and digestion aren't in optimal condition, you can consume a high-protein diet and still lose muscle mass. This explains why so many people who follow high-protein diets continue to have sluggish recovery, waning leg strength, and flabby arms. The study demonstrates that anabolic signaling, digestibility, and protein quality are more important than raw grams. And leucine, the amino acid that directly triggers muscle protein synthesis, is abundant in some foods, particularly one I'll show you today. In today's video, I'll explain why this one underappreciated food is better than eggs for repairing muscle, how to use it efficiently, and how your liver, insulin, and cortisol levels affect whether protein is squandered or creates muscle, the actual causes of muscle loss in seniors, even when they consume adequate protein, and solutions, the ideal times and pairings to enhance muscle growth while you're asleep. A straightforward daily routine to trigger mTOR without raising insulin levels or causing fat storage. This information could permanently alter your eating habits if you're over 40 and wish to remain robust, active, and self-sufficient for many years to come. Additionally, make sure to subscribe if you take your health seriously. Every day, I publish scientifically supported material like this one that focuses on organically regaining strength, energy, and metabolism. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. Let's begin. Let's begin by answering a common query. What food helps correct sarcopenia more quickly and contains more protein than eggs? It's bone broth protein, which is high in collagen. In particular, powdered bone broth made from hydrolyzed grass. You may be asking yourself, bone broth? That's only for gut health, right? The majority of people are unaware, however, that bone broth protein is more than merely high in amino acids. It is abundant in the precise amino acids required for the repair of your muscles, tendons, ligaments, and connective tissues. This is the analogy. There are roughly 6 grams of protein in a big egg. Yes, it is comprehensive, but mainly focused on a girl's development. In contrast, bone broth protein provides 15 to 20 grams each scoop. More significantly, it contains high levels of arginine, proline, hydroxyproline, and glycine. amino acids that support biological tissue repair. I'll use a straightforward analogy to illustrate this. Imagine your muscles as a structure. The foundation is protein. But amino acids found in collagen? They serve as the mortar. What keeps the building together? Your muscle bricks cannot remain strong, functioning, or attached to tendons and ligaments without the mortar. This explains why, despite eating adequate protein, people over 50 frequently feel feeble. The connective matrix, which provides muscle with its strength and structure, is absent from them. According to the research, collagen peptides, which are frequently more efficient than conventional whey or egg protein, significantly increase muscle mass and strength in older persons when paired with even little resistance exercise. According to a 2015 study in the British Journal of Nutrition, older men who took collagen peptide supplements and engaged in mild resistance training increased their muscle strength and lean body mass more than those who took a placebo. That's enormous. Why is this more effective now? Protein utilization is hampered by aging because your stomach acid decreases, your liver becomes less effective at processing amino acids, and your tissues become less sensitive to insulin. Even if your digestion isn't the best, bone broth protein is extremely easy to digest and absorb since it has already been pre-hydrolyzed or broken down into tiny peptides. Additionally, it possesses high quantities of glycine, which has been demonstrated to promote longevity by balancing methylation and lowering inflammation, and very low levels of methionine. Thus, in addition to increasing muscle mass, you're also inhibiting the inflammatory processes that hasten muscle deterioration. This is where it becomes quite potent. Unlike some other protein powders, bone broth protein does not cause an insulin surge. This implies that eating it before bed or during fasting windows won't interfere with autophagy or fat burning. Here is a basic procedure that you may use immediately. 15 to 20 grams of protein from grass-fed bone broth every day, 1 scoop. For a more profound metabolic boost, blend it with cinnamon and MCT oil or mix it with warm water. To optimize muscle synthesis and recuperation, take it in the evening or after working out. If this has been useful thus far, you might want to subscribe. I share articles like this one every day that are all about giving you simple, scientifically supported tools to take charge of your energy, metabolism, and lifespan. Why age has no bearing on muscle loss, and how the liver, digestion, and hormones covertly prevent protein from performing its function. The majority of people believe that muscle loss is a natural part of aging. But this is not the case. Here's what your body is actually doing. Our liver, digestion, and hormones all alter with age. These alterations impact our ability to absorb and utilize the protein we consume. Let me use a straightforward comparison to explain this. Consider feeding the workers who are rebuilding your home. You have an abundance of protein and bricks, but your enzymes, hormones, and workers are either absent or partially dormant. The house is never restored, but the food is there. That's what sarcopenia is all about. First, let's talk about digestion. The production of stomach acid begins to decline as early as age 40. Low stomach acid indicates inefficient protein to amino acid breakdown, even if you aren't aware of it. Your body is unable to extract what it needs, even if you are eating enough. Bloating, gas, and inflammation brought on by an undigested protein further hinder the absorption of nutrients. Also, your pancreas might be generating less digestive enzymes, including lipase and protease. As you age, this makes it harder for your body to process proteins and lipids, which is why many people experience fatigue or weight gain after eating meat. Again, though, meat is not an issue here. It's an issue with digestion. Let's now discuss hormones. Your stress hormone, cortisol, rises with age, particularly if you don't get enough sleep or are under a lot of stress. A high cortisol level is catabolic. This indicates that it degrades muscle tissue, particularly in the legs and glutes, which are big muscle groups linked to mobility and balance. At the same time, even with a typical diet, your cells don't react adequately to insulin, since your insulin sensitivity declines. Two things result from this. Amino acids cannot be transported into muscle as effectively. The classic slim fat body type in elderly individuals is when you lose lean mass and gain more body fat. Here's the twist, though. There is more to insulin than carbohydrates. Additionally, too much protein might increase insulin and prevent fat burning, particularly when consumed in the incorrect metabolic environment. This is why time and protein type are so important, and collagen-based sources, such as bone broth, are better. Anti-inflammatory, high absorption, and minimal effect on insulin. Not to be overlooked is the liver. The metabolism's main organ. Your liver produces enzymes, controls blood sugar, and transforms amino acids into fuel. It slows down when overloaded with processed foods, pollutants, or sugar, which affects many systems, including muscular growth. What are you able to do then? Here are 3 easy solutions. To increase stomach acid and absorption, take apple cider vinegar or betaine HCl with protein meals. Avoid screens at night, get some sunshine in the morning, and maintain steady blood sugar levels throughout the day to naturally lower cortisol. Eat foods high in choline, such as beets, leafy greens, and eggs, to support your liver. Or think of dandelion root tea and milk thistle as natural help. This is the most important lesson. Growing older isn't the cause of muscle loss. Losing metabolic flexibility is the issue. And after you correct the liver, hormones, and digestion, your body can begin to restore itself. We'll now reveal how to naturally trigger your body's muscle-building switch, the one amino acid that promotes growth more quickly than any other, and how to do so without storing fat. Let's discuss the spark plug of muscle growing now that you know how hormones and digestion affect muscle growth. Leucine is an amino acid. Your body is unable to generate leucine since it is one of the 9 necessary amino acids. It must be obtained from diet. Leucine, however, is more than just a building block. It is the catalyst that instructs your body to gain muscle. Consider it analogous to an automobile's ignition key. Regardless of the amount of fuel in the tank, the engine cannot start without it. Here's what your body is actually doing. Mechanistic target of rapamycin, or mTOR, is a potent metabolic process that leucine activates. Your body uses mTOR as an internal signal to begin producing muscle protein. Your body enters an anabolic state, which means it begins to generate tissue rather than break it down, when leucine levels are high enough to flip on mTOR. Here's the issue, though. Your muscle tissue's sensitivity to leucine decreases with age. This is one of the main causes of sarcopenia and is known as anabolic resistance. To acquire the same muscle-building effect that younger individuals get from a tiny amount of leucine, older adults require more of it. Therefore, you could not even be reaching the threshold to promote muscle regeneration if you are over 50, and yet only consume 10 or 15 grams of random protein. According to the research, older persons have a minimal leucine threshold of 2.5 to 3 grams each meal. That is the quantity needed to initiate significant protein synthesis and activate mTOR. For comparison, there are only 0.5 grams of leucine in one egg. To get to that point, you would need 5 or 6 eggs. Even then, your insulin sensitivity and digestion will play a role. This is when leucine-rich foods like grass-fed beef, turkey, or fermented soy like tempeh, as well as collagen blends and bone broth protein come into play. However, we can do more. Here is a protocol supported by research if you want to actually stimulate muscular growth. After 30 minutes of weight training, consume a meal or shake high in leucine. Your body is most responsive to amino acids at this time, which helps you avoid age-induced anabolic resistance. Add 1 scoop of high-quality bone broth protein, 2 scoops of collagen peptides, 3 to 4 ounces of grass-fed beef, and extra leucine or glycine. Combine with 5 to 10 grams of healthy fats, such as MCT or olive oil, to slightly decrease absorption for long-term availability. Even in the absence of vigorous activity, a leucine-enriched essential amino acid supplement increased muscle mass and strength in older adults, according to a study published in the Journal of Nutrition. That is the potency of leucine. Does that imply that you should begin taking leucine supplements? Not precisely. When leucine is given the proper digestive support, steady blood sugar, and sufficient resistance stimulus, it functions best. Consider it a component of a system rather than a panacea, and for that reason, bone broth protein works so well. It is pre-digested, maintains the lining of your stomach, doesn't raise insulin levels, and contains leucine and glycine. That mixture is quite potent. Please like and subscribe if you find this analysis useful. If you're viewing now, please let me know whether you're with me. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. We go into great detail about how to healthily regain strength through diet, science, and metabolism. We will now discuss timing. Protein intake is just as crucial as diet, particularly if you wish to gain muscle while you sleep. It's likely that you're missing the window if you're eating the correct protein, but aren't experiencing any changes. And that's equally important as the actual food. Let's take a moment to review the fundamentals of physiology. Exercise does not cause your body to gain muscle. It builds muscle during the healing process, particularly during deep sleep when your body is in full repair mode and human growth hormone, or HGH, is at its highest. However, your body requires the correct nutrients at the right moment to support that nocturnal repair process. This is the issue. A lot of individuals skip dinner, eat their largest meal early, or have a high-carb snack right before bed. That leads to 2 problems. At night, when tissue regeneration is most active, the body does not get enough amino acids. Carbs consumed late at night raise insulin levels and prevent the combustion of fat and growth hormone. How can we resolve this, then? This is a protocol I teach my patients using a whiteboard. In the evening, 1 to 2 hours prior to going to bed, eat your highest leucine, collagen-rich protein meal. This guarantees a consistent supply of amino acids during your circadian rhythm's most anabolic phase. Steer clear of carbohydrates and sugary foods right before bed. Why? Due to the antagonistic relationship between growth hormone and insulin. Growth hormone is reduced by excessive insulin, which results in poor recovery, less tissue repair, and less fat burning. Add soothing nutrients like glycine or magnesium to your evening protein. Collagen and bone broth include glycine, which lowers body temperature and encourages deeper sleep, all of which improve the window for muscle regeneration. I'll use a straightforward analogy to illustrate this. Imagine your body as a building site. It's a crazy place during the day. Distractions, movement, and deliveries. It's silent at night. The skilled craftsmen then take over and rebuild. However, they have nothing to work with if you don't give them resources, such as glycine and high-quality protein. The outcome? One more night of lost chances. According to research, eating a slow-digesting protein that is high in leucine and glycine before bed enhances muscle protein synthesis overnight and promotes metabolic health. In contrast to fasting overnight, a 2012 study published in Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise shown that older adults' muscle protein synthesis was enhanced when they consumed casein, a slow protein, prior to bed. The protein in bone broth acts similarly. Here is a simple evening routine that you can follow without the impact of dairy or insulin. Dinner is served from 6 to 7 p.m. Healthy fat, steamed vegetables, and light protein. A protein shake between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Warm water or nut milk is optional, along with 1 scoop of grass-fed bone broth, protein, and cinnamon. To promote healing and deeper sleep, take 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium glycinate or 3 grams of glycine before bed. Bonus advice: stay away from booze. For up to 24 hours, even a tiny quantity can decrease growth hormone by more than 70% and prevent REM sleep. So keep in mind that if your hormones and diet are in balance, you might gain muscle as you sleep. This might be the missing component if you've ever woken up feeling weak and exhausted, even if you felt like you were doing everything correctly. I'll now provide you with a comprehensive daily regimen to combat sarcopenia, integrating all of the topics we've discussed thus far into a detailed plan you can begin right now. You now comprehend the what and the why. Let's tie everything together with a doable, step-by-step daily schedule that you can start right away to stop muscle loss and rebuild true strength without the use of synthetic supplements, medicines, or intense exercise. People over 40 are the target audience for this treatment, particularly those who are showing early indicators of sarcopenia, weaker legs, slower recovery, thinning arms, or a discernible decrease in stamina. Consider this a muscle reset for metabolism, 7 to 9 a.m. metabolism and lower cortisol levels. To lower morning cortisol and reset your circadian cycle, start with 10 to 15 minutes of sunshine. To stay hydrated and boost adrenal function, sip on filtered water with lemon and sea salt. 1 teaspoon of protein powder in mass, apple cider vinegar, and digestion preparation are optional. Regenerate your metabolism. Then, to aid stomach acid and prepare digestion, inject the metabolic protein powder into the mouth. To increase blood flow to muscles, do a quick walk, some light activity, or dynamic stretching for 10 minutes. 20 to 30 grams of complete protein, wild-caught salmon, or tempeh, or a big protein-rich meal between 12 and 2 p.m. Add grass-fed butter, avocado, olive oil, broccoli, kale, arugula, and other low-carb vegetables. Add meals high in leucine, such as beans, eggs, and turkey. If you feel heavy or full after eating, you can optionally add 1 or 2 caps of betaine HCl, aids in the breakdown of proteins and digestion. Muscle activation combined with movement, resistance training for 15 to 30 minutes, bodyweight squats, push-ups, resistance bands, or small weights. Aim for calm, moderate repetitions. Hydration after exercise, along with a small food high in leucine, bone broth, collagen shake, or hard-boiled eggs if necessary. Sleep preparation, a light dinner, steamed vegetables, and clean protein, such as salmon, sardines, or leftover lunch protein, are all part of the recuperating diet. a bone broth protein shake, 1 scoop of grass-fed bone broth protein, a sprinkle of cinnamon, and warm water or nut milk, if desired, should be had 1 to 2 hours prior to bedtime. Add magnesium glycinate, or 3G-glycine, to promote relaxation and sound sleep. Prior to going to bed, fix your window thoroughly, stay away from screens and blue light, and encourage the release of melatonin and HGH. GABA, chamomile tea, and sleep aids, if necessary, are optional. Out of lights by 10:30 p.m. to optimize restful, deep sleep during the peak of growth hormone. Take an Epsom salt bath or an infrared sauna once or twice a week to help with inflammation and detoxification. Arugula, beets, dandelion root tea, liver-supporting foods, or a mild liver formula containing choline and milk thistle. Keep in mind that the process of growing muscle is signal-based. To maintain the signal, you need leucine, glycine, collagen, the proper hormonal milieu, low cortisol, insulin balance, and regular low-impact exercise. Even if you only align these components once a day for 2 to 3 weeks, you might notice improvements in your strength, posture, sleep quality, and metabolism. Let's make it all work together. We began by revealing the startling fact that, particularly in older persons, bone broth protein, which is high in collagen and certain amino acids, can be more effective than eggs at reversing muscle loss. However, this goes beyond a single food. This is about knowing what's preventing your body from using protein as it should and the true underlying reasons of sarcopenia. This is what we discussed. Age is not the cause of sarcopenia. It is caused by metabolic decline, which hinders muscle growth and protein absorption. Low stomach acid, excessive cortisol, insulin resistance, and slow liver function are further contributing factors. Because bone broth protein is pre-digested, easily absorbed, has a low insulin impact, and is high in glycine and leucine, 2 amino acids necessary for muscle building and tissue repair, it functions well. Your master muscle switch is leucine. No matter how much protein you eat, your body won't stimulate muscle synthesis if you don't have enough of it. Every meal, you must reach that 2.5 to 3 G level. Time is of the essence. Regaining this window can significantly boost your outcomes. Eating a collagen-rich protein shake before bed promotes nightly muscle regeneration when growth hormone is naturally elevated. Your body can rebuild muscle, regain vitality, and age with vigor if you follow a regular schedule that balances your food, exercise, digestion, and sleep. Here's what you need to do next. Tonight, give it a try. Add a pinch of cinnamon to 1 scoop of premium bone broth protein and warm water. 90 minutes before going to bed, drink it. Combine it with 5 to 10 minutes of gentle breathing exercises or stretching. Press, then monitor your morning mood. Deeper, more restful sleep, and more steady energy. This is how a single, little, regular habit can lead to true transformation. Please like and subscribe if this video was helpful, provided you with a fresh perspective, a clear procedure, or simply inspired you to regain your health. To help you maximize your longevity, energy, and metabolism, I publish articles like this one every day. And I want to know whether you're with me if you're now watching. If this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments section. If not, type 0. To keep strong, of course, you don't need medicine. You require the appropriate resources, consistency, and knowledge. Your